Hi everyone, it's January in Zone 5A, Wisconsin, and there are plenty of seeds for herbs and veggies and fruit that we can start right now to have a good size to plant out in the garden once all danger of frost has passed. Let's get growing. I think we're going to start with some rosemary today. Rosemary takes a long time to grow from seed, so it's great if you can start it really early. The packet here is suggesting that in my area we start it in June, but it can take like 3 months to even sprout, so we're going to ignore that advice. You want to sow these pretty thickly because sometimes they have a pretty tough time germinating. It even says don't even put them outside until they're like 6 inches tall, so definitely want to start these ones early, guys. It says we're going to plant them about an 1/8 inch deep. So right now I'm working with some cell trays. Each cell is 1.25 inches square. Not big. This packet doesn't even have that many seeds in it. Maybe we'll get like a row or half a row. It's probably half a row, just the way rosemary grows. And I think rather than trying to get these guys an 1/8 inch deep into the dirt, what I'm going to do is just pat this down a little bit. You do want to start with plenty of like perlite or sand or vermiculite, something that's really easy for these roots to grow through because they're a little wimpy when they get started. I've got, well, it started out just as a regular like Miracle-Gro potting mix, but I've mixed in a lot of perlite, and perlite is, well, when you get a potting mix, it's these little like white balls in there. It's actually an expanded volcanic rock, which is basically like the pumice stone that you use to like exfoliate dead skin. That's what this is. It creates a lot of air and lightens the heaviness of the soil. Might even get one full row of these rosemary guys, which is great because I love rosemary. It's a great medicinal herb, great culinary herb. It is awesome. I really wish it was hardy to my zone. I had heard that our rosemary, ARP, was hardy down to zone 5, and I've tried it a few times in the garden. So far, it has not come back. So I'm thinking that's more of like a zone 6, guys, or like a warm zone 6, but that's pretty awesome anyways for rosemary. Where I'm from in Southern California, rosemary grows like hedges. It is huge and it smells amazing. So that's one that I'm really missing. If you know of a cold hardy for reals down to zone 5 rosemary, like let me know because I will definitely want to give it a try. Otherwise, next best thing is growing from seed, or sometimes I can get cuttings or plugs of it for a good price at some of my local greenhouses, but they're still really tiny by the time they go out. I'm just putting a little bit more of this mix on top of those rosemary seeds, so now they are an 1/8 inch under. There's rosemary. I'm labeling these with the name of the herb and the date that I started it. That way, if they do really well, I'll know to try to start it again on this day next year. If they get too big, I can start it a little later. If they need more time, I can do that too. I think some feverfew. Feverfew is a medicinal herb. It's often used for migraines and works best preventatively. You can use it as a tea, but it works best actually if you just eat like 1 or 2 leaves a day and with a fat like butter. So, you know, if you're making toast or a sandwich or even a compound butter, could be good to throw some of those in. Now, it's supposed to be a perennial in my zone, perennial zones 5 to 8. I've had it, some years I have it come back, many years I don't. I don't know, but it grows pretty easily from seed. It's a really cute plant. Little tiny, like daisy-like flowers. They're super tiny, so I'm going to put a few seeds, because really I can't even separate them, in each of these little pots. And if I'm lucky and a ton come up, I can just prick them out later with a toothpick and put them into little bigger pots. They do like full sun and pretty well draining soil. I think I got some in each of these little cells in this row, so I'll close that guy up. That is feverfew. Okay, let me get that row labeled. Next, I've got some strawberries that I want to grow. These are musk strawberries, also known as bubbleberry. Strawberries like a little bit of cold stratification, so I had them in the refrigerator for a while, froze them into some ice cubes here, and they do like light to germinate, so what I can just do is set them on top of the soil pretty much, and when the ice melts, these cells are pretty tiny for this, but that'll work. When the ice melts, the seeds will be left behind on top of the soil, having nice moisture to get them started, and they'll get a good start on life. If you grow musk strawberries, I actually have some in my garden already. They are an excellent ground cover for people looking for like food forest, permaculture type situations. Plants. They are, however, dioecious, so they need at least 2 plants in order to pollinate their flowers and produce fruit. And the first set of these I grew, I pretty much just got 1 plant that did really well. And strawberries are funny. Sometimes they grow so well from seed and other times not. So I had like 1 plant that grew well, and I planted it out in my garden, and it just spread really nicely. It makes beautiful leaves, excellent for tea, super healthy, full of vitamins, love them. And it started making flowers last year, but no fruit. That's when I realized like all of my plants are made from runners from the same plant, so they're all clones, so they can't pollinate each other. Found a few more seeds, and we're gonna grow those and see if that solves our problem. Get that guy in. We're gonna have a few rows of these because we love strawberries. We have all kinds. What are your favorite kinds of strawberries to grow? We've got full-size strawberries, a nice ever-bearing plant. Most of the strawberries we grow are alpine type strawberries. We really love Yellow Wonder. I also have Ruby Ann, which is pretty. It's got like very, very like red flowers. Yellow Wonder is one of our favorite. Each of these little ice cubes has 2 seeds in it. Once they melt down in there, they won't be too overcrowded in these tiny cells. That is going to be a nice amount of strawberries if those all grow. That is musk strawberry, and I've gotten them from Pharmacy Isolde. Pharmacy Isolde is like a great place to get some kind of interesting, not so common herbs and vegetables. I've gotten quite a few things from them. Yeah. That's how you spell them. Pharmacy Isolde. And in that vein, I guess we'll do maral root next. Maral root is native to Siberia. It's an interesting plant. It's used like a ginseng. Some people call it Siberian ginseng, which is different than eleuthero root, which is also sometimes called Siberian ginseng. It's used for like energy and endurance. It's very good at helping to rebuild muscle. You know, if you've been following me for a while, you know I've had several years in a row now where I've had surgeries and things and need to keep rebuilding muscle. So I've been using maral root lately, and it's actually, I think, helped a lot. At this moment, I'd like to take some time to remind you, always do your own research and consult with an MD before you add any herbs into your routine, especially if you're taking other medications. Sometimes there can be some pretty serious adverse effects, and some medicines do not mix. Herbs are medicines, so always best to be careful. Okay, so these are some pretty good sized seeds. They actually, I don't know if you can see it, they almost look like bachelor button. They also look like bachelor button seeds. Rule of thumb when planting, as big as the seed is, that's how deep you want to plant it, if not slightly more. There's Radcliffe back there coming to help. Radcliffe, what are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? Don't know. You can't have those. Those are Mama's. It's like investigating my ice cube tray and my ice cubes. That'd be bad if you just came by and ate all the strawberry seeds we just planted. Silly puppy. Do your pets like to help you plant? So I'm just putting one of these seeds in each of these trays. I'm starting them like 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch down. And I'm going to save some of these because I haven't grown them before. And knowing they're from Siberia, I'm wondering if they're going to need some cold stratification. I'm going to save some of these and try them with some winter sowing also. Should probably cover those up. I think maybe next we're going to do some spilanthes. It's often used to help boost the immune system. However, it's also known as toothache plant or buzz buttons. It gets kind of buzzy and tingly and a little bit of a numbing sensation. So it's often used for toothaches. I find that it works really well, and I guess my kids find and verify that this works really well for kids who are losing their teeth, their baby teeth. If you chew a little bit of a flower or a leaf, or just do like a couple drops of tincture of it, it helps numb the pain and that feels a lot better. It's also used for producing saliva. If anybody's got dry mouth, spilanthes will help. And there are a few different varieties. These ones are pretty. These are the bullseye variety. They're yellow with kind of a brown center. And there's also some that are just fully yellow. And these seeds, they're pretty little again. I'm going to plant them about 1/8 of an inch deep at most. I actually still have some growing. I just brought them indoors for the winter, and they're still doing pretty well, which has been nice. My girls are pretty happy with that because they both got loose teeth right now. I think I'm actually just going to start this one row of the bullseye type for now. Maybe I'll start some more again later, because I do still have the fully yellow plants growing indoors, and I probably don't need like a bajillion starting right now. They'll take off pretty quick once they get outdoors, even if they're pretty small when they go out. Spilanthes. Okay. Now I'm going to skip over. I keep trying to grow this. I have never had any luck. So if anybody else has, let me know how you get it to grow. This is Okahijiki saltwort. I got this from my gardener. At this point, the seeds are a couple of years old, so I don't know what their germination rate ends up being at that point. But they're supposed to be like a nice, salty culinary herb, also known as land seaweed. So I'd really love for those to grow. I enjoy seaweed quite a bit. Here's hoping. I've tried a bunch of different ways to get them to sprout. Since this seed's a little old, I think I'll go ahead and start a couple in each little box. Especially since I've had such poor germination rates with them before. I'll even do like 3. Now, these seeds are interesting. They almost look kind of like a tiny, not tiny, but a much smaller beet or chard seed. The plant, according to the picture, looks kind of like chives. Totally dropped that seed in the wrong spot. Digging holes and then completely missing them. I don't even think that one was a seed. There we go. If you've grown any of these varieties, please feel free to leave some comments down below. Let us know if you've grown them, how well they did for you, if you liked them, any tips or tricks you have. If you have any questions, you can put those down there too. Somebody else might have answers. even if I don't. I'm giving these a start really early. It actually says to only start them like 4 weeks ahead of time or to direct sow them, but I've tried both of those in the past. Neither has worked. I've tried them multiple times. So now we're gonna just try indoors. Get those labeled. There we go. Up next, I think I'm gonna do half a row of lemongrass. Lemongrass, I've done some videos on before, has a nice lemony flavor. It's often used to flavor Thai cooking. It's definitely used in teas. It has a bright lemony flavor, very similar medicinal properties to lemon balm or lemon verbena. I found that they start pretty well from seed, but they do take quite a while to get going. So I like to start them early. There we go. We got some. Okay. I'm just going to start half a row. I often bring it in for winter. Currently, I still have some doing pretty well from my garden last summer. Just dug it up and brought it in. Okay. Shove the rest of these seeds back in the envelope. Get those labeled. Constantly losing the marker. There it is. Other half row with some mugwort. I don't need a ton of mugwort. It does spread like crazy, and I already use western mugwort in my gardens, which I have a video on if you want to check that one out. I'll try to leave a link in the description below. Mugwort, many people know as the herb for vivid and lucid dreaming. Often used in teas. These are teeny tiny, surface soak, keep them moist, but they can take up to 90 days to germinate, so we are gonna get them. I mean, I don't know if you can see that. It's like right there on that finger. It's like smaller than little flecks of pepper, black pepper. Yeah, these are tiny. Okay, let's just gently tap those into the surface of the soil. Roman chamomile is a perennial chamomile. It's very low growing and is often used as a ground cover. Some people will sow it as their grass. I think you would need a bajillion seeds to make that happen, but I bet that would smell really nice and be very cute. Chamomile has little daisy-like flowers. It's very calming, often in formulas and teas to help drift off to sleep or calm anxiety. It has the same medicinal properties as the more commonly found German variety. My favorite type of chamomile actually is a Polish chamomile. It's called Zloty Lan, Z-L-O-T-Y space L-A-N. I can usually get that one from Baker Creek. Roman chamomile, I actually used to have a really hard time finding it. Now it's in a lot more places, which I appreciate. I actually also really like pineapple weed. Pineapple weed is like a wild cousin that's native to the US. Wild cousin of chamomile, native to the US. It really does have more of like a pineapple-y flavor. Like I find that most chamomile is kind of like a sweet apple flavor. Pineapple weed has definitely more almost tart pineapple flavor. It's really nice. That's Roman chamomile, Chamomillum noble, altai dragonhead from the Altai mountains. I've tried growing it a few times, haven't had a ton of success getting it to go. It likes really dry soil and kind of sandy soil. I mostly have northern Midwest clay, so not quite its favorite landscape to grow in, but every once in a while I give it a try. It's supposed to be a short-lived perennial, even in my zone 5. So I feel like once I can actually get it to grow, I'll be pretty happy. It'll stay around for a while. Now you're seeing me start several seeds in each of these tiny pots. Like I told you, they're like 1.25 inches in diameter. But do remember that many herb seeds are very tiny. Take quite a while to get going from seed. And I can always pick them out with a toothpick and set them in their own pots if they get going really well. Many herbs don't have that great of a germination rate. This way I don't have to worry about having a gajillion teeny tiny seed starting trays, because I don't have the space for that. And I don't have to waste all the seed starting medium, which, that can get expensive and add up, especially when you're growing, not only a home garden, but an entire apothecary's worth of plants. So now we have a row of altai dragonhead. Okay, so up next is meadowsweet. And this is from Strictly Medicinal Seeds. Meadowsweet is a lovely herb. It's really nice. It is a little sweet in teas. It is a very powerful anti-inflammatory and pain reliever. It is a perennial, hardy down to zone 3, and really a very nice looking plant. It doesn't have super showy flowers, but very nice foliage. Another very little seed. Almost looks like a little raspberry seed. These are in the Spirea family. If you know anything about the Spirea family, you know that they are the source of the isolated compound which brings pain relieving qualities to aspirin. Aspirin is from Aspirea, which means of Spirea. Okay, so there is our last row in this tray. Get those labeled, and then I water these from the bottom. These are bottom watering trays. Don't like to water tiny seeds from the top. Totally messes with the depth they're planted at and moves them around too much. So I'll do it this other way. Okay. That's our seed starting for today. What are you growing? What are you starting from seed in January? What zone are you in? Any tips, tricks, or questions about the plants that I am starting today? You can leave those down in the comments and I'll get back to you, or maybe one of our fellow watchers. Let's get growing.